I thought I'd do a video on something I've decided to do. This is a rod knocking 5.3 liter Gen 3 that I'm going to turn into a Gen 4 motor. So it's got a bad connecting rod and crank in there. I'm going to tear it down today. We'll take some more video. But what I got a perfectly good crank here. I guess it'll still be Gen 3. It's not the, I think it's a 24 reluctor wheel on it. But these journals are perfect on this crank. And more importantly, this crank was paired to these Gen 4 rods here, okay? I've got some Gen 4 pistons that are in good shape. They need to be cleaned. Gen 4 rods, these are 5.3s. So I took this out of another motor that seized a cam bearing and they threw the block away. So I'm going to use this crank with these rods and pistons in that motor over there. And the reason that we have to use this crank, you think, why can't we just throw these in? This is balanced for these rods. These rods are heavier rods than your Gen 3 rods. These are commonly called dimple rods. You can see that there, the dimple, that's what they're referring to. I have this exact rod set and crank set. Pistons are different. In my 6.0 that I'm turboing, it's a turbo wing. On my, I got a 99 Silverado that I'll do some videos on, that I'm making just about 800 on that with 18 pounds of boost. And I'm running 800 wheel through a 4L80. That's pretty impressive. I spray a lot of methanol on it, but these are some stout rods. They actually hold up really well. And if you've watched Matt with Sloppy, he runs the piss out of these things. And if they do bend, he bent one right at 1,000. He ran out of fuel. They don't tend to break. They tend to just bow out to the side, out this way or this way. And he just replaced one, put it back in and sent it down the road. But anyway, good crank setup. And these bearings, if you can see, they probably look trash there. They're not trash. They're actually really clean. I got to clean them up. But those will work well. All depends on the bore. If I get in here and find the bore shot, then I got to figure something else out. So hopefully this is a good motor other than the rod and crank that went out in it. So what's the point of this? Well, I'm going to piss some of you off, but I've decided to completely sell the powertrain in the Foxbody. So 347 forged motor, the T56. I got a T56, twin disc clutch, all that stuff if you've watched my other videos. That's gonna go. So this is getting turned into a dedicated straight line car. So I'm gonna run the 5.3. I'm gonna build my own turbo setup. I'm probably gonna use some either stock manifolds or some eBay manifolds that I've done in the past. Not those exact manifolds that are on that Silverado that I built for my brother, but I've got some different ideas. So I wanna run this 5.3 in that Mustang. Want to put 15 pounds to it, make 700, close to 700 horse with some methanol on it, and send it through. I have a hiding down underneath my bench in this filthy workshop. There's a 4L80. It's actually over here. That's the 4L80's over there. I'll change that to a 2-wheel drive 80. Change the output in it. Slap it on here. I'm going to do this sloppy style, as cheap as I can. I just want to prove some points, and Matt's already proved them on sloppy, but I want to see what I can do to make this Mustang fly. The issue I have, I've got close to 600-ish power in that Foxbody, and I'm pushing time bomb with the it's an aftermarket Ford block, but it's still a 2-bolt main block. I don't trust that. The thing about, guys, you can argue it all day long, but I've proven the point. I'm running big power, big power out of a 6-liter that I got from an Escalade. It's an LQ9 Gen 4 setup, or Gen 4 rods, I should say. And I'm doing it day in, day out, just pounding the tar out of it. I'll show that in another video, but I'm making 800 wheel on that motor. Stock block, stock crank, stock piston, stock heads. The only thing I've done to that motor is springs, valve springs, and a cam. I'm running an LS9 cam in it. and then I'm throwing tons of boost at it, obviously, the power adder. And it lives. I've put 30,000 miles on it that way. Anyway, I grew up a Ford lover. I really did. I really liked Fords. And a lot of people argue this is a Ford. This is a copy of a small block Ford. And in some respects, I get it. It's now an inline motor. They don't use offset firing order and ports. You know, it is. There are a lot of similarities between a small block and this LS in its geometry and some of the ideas they had, but money-wise, dude, you can make so much more power. You really can. You can make a ton of power for a lot less money. And I am not a loyalist. I'm a mechanic, and so this is my daily grind. And I choose my words carefully because it's from experience of what works, what I prefer to work on. Look at the footprint of this motor. I mean, an LS footprint versus a Coyote, or even, you know, any of the modular motors Ford puts out, they're freaking huge. They are. And relatively, look, I have one in my 3-valve Mustang that's supercharged. It's not that one, that's a customer's. But anyway, these have such a small footprint for the power they put out. I like the simplicity of the pushrod motor. And there's a ton of Foxes out there already doing it. A lot of people hate it, but there's reasons why it's done. And hopefully I can illustrate that with this this build. And it's going to take some time. It's not going to be done real fast, but I'm going to be yarding out that motor out there and that Foxbody and selling the engine and trans out of that. It's a really good setup in there, but I'm just deciding to try something different. And I'm going to try to get a tripod actually for you guys and a real camera instead of my phone, and do some documentation of this build. I'm gonna have a friend helping me with it a bit, but I've learned these motors are just way too easy to make big power on with a cheap Chinese turbo, with whatever, dude, they just take it. So having said that, I don't want to diss on any Coyote guys. I've got some friends with Coyotes making 1,000 horse on twin turbos. I mean, they're a real motor. They are. I'm not dissing any of that. They're a fantastic motor. It's a lot of money. So I would love to have a new Coyote. I have no issues with that. This here, just if anybody's curious what this is actually a pretty nice Mustang. It's I'll just show you real fast because it's a customer's car. It's not mine. It's a 14, but did a little bit of work on it to help him with his street legalness. 6-speed, 3.7. It's not a Coyote, but he's making Coyote power. He's got Coyote power out of it with this Pro Charger on it. So I did not install the Pro Charger. I just did some work on it to help him get through emissions and whatnot. But at any rate, nice little car. It's fun to drive. Not my. I can't do a V6. But anyway, that's off subject. So anyway, follow me on this build, guys, if you're interested. It'll be interesting. This motor has got an interesting history. It was, these heads you can see were just put on about 200 miles before they were rebuilt and put on. The block's filthy. 200 miles ago, and the kid put it on and then developed a rod knock, and he sold the whole truck to me. And so this came out of my 99, which I'm gonna keep that in a different set of videos, but I've got to do that. I've built a 99 that should run in the 11s with, hopefully deep into the 11s with the power I'm putting out of it. But anyway, I'm going to take it to the track here fairly soon when it warms up. But so this is the 99 motor from that Silverado, and we're gonna have some fun. We're even going to try to make our own pan. We have to chop and section the pan, but I'm good with that. I've got a nice plasma cutter. I just got a nice new Miller. I'm saying Miller, it's red. Lincoln TIG 200. It's been welding. I'm just starting to learn to weld aluminum, and I mean, I've welded all my life, but anyway, I'll be able to hopefully cut and section my own pan, dipstick, or the pickup tube. We'll do a few things like that. And it should be a really cool build. It's not going to be show. Nothing I do is typically show. I don't have that patience. So it's not like going to be a show car or anything like that. But I like making cool mechanical stuff, make big power. So follow me, guys, and enjoy.